All right. Welcome everybody to Dave Cooper Live. This is the expert interview, and man, do we have a conversation for you today. There is so much to learn that even I didn't know when it comes to how we're going to build it better, how we're going to talk about digital twins and Nibs. What is Nibs? Well, we're gonna let AC Powell come on, the CEO, and explain all of that to you in just a moment. We are live at Boxable, and I have to tell you, I've been here for 2 days. I've been sleeping in this casita right here. I can give you a couple other angles you want to see. That's right here, this casita, and you'll see over here. It's not so small for what you think it is. This is a folding house. That's right. It's a folding house. It ships down the highway 8 feet wide. Guess what you don't need? You don't need transportation permits. You just hook it up like you'd hook up a trailer on your car. That's what's super cool about all of this. So I don't even know where to begin on how exciting this is going to be, but let's see if we can bring in Vince down there and see if he's showing the exterior. That's right. So there you go. That's what the exterior of this place looks like. So I want to thank everybody for allowing us to bring all these innovative conversations to what we are doing and how we are doing it. We can't do any of this without our sponsors. So before we get started, before we welcome AC Powell to the show, let's give a big thanks to our sponsors for allowing all of this to happen. Modular, the only logistics company you need to transport your mods, pods, and panels. Our friends at Stream Modular are investing $50 million over the next 25 years to build the technology, solutions, and trailers needed to handle and transport the projects of today and meet the demands of tomorrow. Reach out to their team at streammodular.com to discuss your next project. CombiLift is the largest global manufacturer of multi-directional forklifts and straddle carriers, a leader in long load handling solutions, offering a free warehouse and site optimization design service. CombiLift helps companies of all sizes and from every industry maximize the capacity, safety, and efficiency of their warehouse and storage facilities. A big thank you to Paul Short and the team at CombiLift for helping us all to build it better. Visit them at combilift.com. Brave Control Solutions, where offsite manufacturing systems that do more than just improve productivity. They have a unique approach to industrialized construction, a lineup of flexible automation systems specifically designed for the construction industry, empowered by CAD to Fab, and turnkey solutions for 3D volumetric assembly, structural insulated panels, finished wall assemblies, MEP component processing, assembly, kitting, and storage. Learn more at thinkbrave.com. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks to our sponsors. Hopefully all that's coming through to you loud and clear. We got cameras set up all over the place and audio. If you can hear something or something's not working, let us know. But why don't we hop into it? Let's start this conversation. Let's bring on AC Powell. AC, how you doing, man?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing, Dave?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. So, AC, it's always awesome having guests on the show, and I'm super excited to be talking about all the things that you guys are doing. I think it's going to be super important for all of our people out there to know exactly what you do, what Nibs is all about. But before we get into that, we want to know everything about you. In fact, we want to know everything from the moment you were born to this very moment in time. Do not leave out any of the good stuff from the hospital, or we definitely will call your mother and have her come on the show. And I have a feeling that could get quite embarrassing for you, but you only have 2 minutes to do it. The floor is yours.
All righty. I will go fast. So I was born in Indianapolis, Indiana, in April. My birthday is, and I kid you not, literally 4/20. I went to school in Ohio, small liberal arts college called Denison University, and I wanted to be an attorney from the age of 8. So I studied politics, philosophy, and economics, graduated from Denison, and went to work for a couple of insurance companies. Some of them will remain nameless, but one of them was Allstate. and went on from there to go to law school. I went to Capital University Law School in Columbus, Ohio, mostly because I got married in between college and law school and in the midst of working for Allstate, and graduated from Capital University Law School with concentrations in publicly held companies and small business entities. Went on from there to work for the DC Chamber of Commerce. I also spent time at 3 universities teaching business law and constitutional law. And I should have said my favorite job until I got this one was the Columbus Urban League. But I also was the executive director and CEO of the Association for Facilities Engineering, which led me to this opportunity. And now I am here with you today. So Dave, your audio.
We met at the International Builders
Yes.
Show, and you were sitting down with 2 of my favorite people, Judy Donnell and Greg Ugaldi. You guys were tucked into a corner. I came in for coffee. I was like, "Whoa, look who's here! How awesome is that?" AC, leading up to where you are today and how you get there, right? There's always a story. And I think, just listening to you talk, this is part of what makes us passionate for what we do and how we do it.
Right.
And you stepping into the CEO role where you're at now, how did that happen? Like, how did it just come about that, all of a sudden you got offered this position? I actually know you because you told me when we talked previously, but why don't you tell everybody a little bit how this all came about? Because I think it's pretty awesome.
Sure. So at AFE, the Association for Facilities Engineering, we do what we call the annual business meeting and leadership conference, ABMLC. So I was in the midst of leading ABMLC in 2021, and we had a gentleman by the name of, actually 2022, and I had a gentleman by the name of Daryl Xavier Rounds, who is still a board member over here at Nibs. He was a speaker at ABMLC, and after the conference, a couple of people were like, "Yeah, I don't know if Daryl had a great time. I don't know if he enjoyed himself." So he calls me about a week later, and I'm like, "Uh-oh, he is going to tell me how bad we did." But he says, "Hey, our CEO has decided to step away. Would you like to interview for the job?" And I said, "Absolutely. I would be delighted." So I applied. And after a round of grueling interviews and panel discussions and presentations, Nibs offered me this position, and I couldn't be happier. It is the culmination of at least 10 years worth of work, and I'm having a great time. Work with very intelligent people, heck of a lot smarter than I am, and everything's been going very well.
Yeah, well, you know what? You have to surround yourself with people smarter, right? Yes. You don't want to be the smartest one in the room because it's not going to get you very far by any stretch of the means. And what you're doing, by the way, takes a team. So it takes a team of different type of thinkers versus just one smart person. All right. Let's get into it. Nibs, man. I had no idea that even we're going to get into digital twins and other things. What is Nibs for those that are out there that have never heard of you? What does Nibs stand for? I know what it stands for, but I want you to say it. And I want you to kind of share what the mission and the culture and the goals are of Nibs, if you could.
Absolutely. So Nibs is the National Institute of Building Sciences. We were created by the United States Congress in 1974 under the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974. And our mission is to serve the public interest by advancing building science and technology to improve the built environment. And people always ask, what is the built environment? The built environment is everything around us that we use for entertainment. We go to movie theaters, we go to churches to pray, we go to schools to get educated, we work in office buildings, or we work from home, we go to parks, we go to theme parks. We use the built environment to travel. We use the built environment for airports. So we have landing strips, docks that we can launch ships from, that we can load things that we're buying or selling across seas. So the built environment is everything around us that supports what human life really is about, and that's connectivity. So we see ourselves as improving the built environment by improving lives through collaboration and injecting science into the built environment. So for us, that involves bringing people together. That involves actually getting our hands dirty. So we conduct or manage several projects for the federal government in particular, and also for state governments. We have partners that span the large and the largest of the large engineering firms like WSP and AECOM. We also work with single architects and lawyers and insurance companies. So we have a lot of partners to get this thing done. And it's all about the American people. Our focus is the American people. That is our primary client.
So when it comes to, all the research, all the codes and standards that are out there, how do you work with, like the ICC and, the people that are actually putting the international codes, into what all of us out in the world are using? What role, do you play in that? And how does that intermingle with each other, or does it not?
No, it absolutely does. So we have a great working relationship with the ICC. We also have a great working relationship with ASHRAE. We have a great relationship with ISO, IAPMO, ANSI. We work with a lot of different standards making organizations. We also have standards. We have the National BIM standard, which we are about to launch version 4. We also have the National CAD standard. We are working on a digital twin standard, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes here. But we actually bring these subject matter experts together so that these standards can be developed and organizations like ICC can take them into code adoption phase, which the code adoption on the back end can take 10 years sometimes. Sometimes we pray a lot sooner, but it just depends on the jurisdiction. But those are the types of relationships that we work with to make those things into reality. So standards are great. Codes are a little bit better, and standards help folks know what is going into the buildings that they use, particularly when we're talking about homes. They can also affect cost. So when we work with NAHB, for example, we're trying to make sure that as the standards are developed, as codes are adopted, costs aren't going up for the developers, which means that costs aren't going up for the end users or the consumers. So that's our role, making sure that everything continues to move smoothly and putting people in the right places and bringing the information together so that we can have the things that we need as a society.
So it sounds like Nibs is almost like a checks and balance.
We try to be that. And I think from the standpoint of how we work and how we work with our partners, that is become our primary role. We have, like I said, some really talented people on our staff. We've got structural engineers, we've got architects, we've got project managers, and then we have the business side of the house where we have folks in marketing, we have accountants. So we span the gamut of being able to run an organization that can do all of these different things for the built environment.
I love it. This is such a hot topic right now, especially, with sustainability coming up when we think about, the carbon agendas and all of those things that are happening, AC, and to have I'm going to say checks and balances, because that's what it sounds like to me, but not only that, but to have a full team of architects, engineers, contractors, all out there, working to come up with better ways of doing things, and researching things is how this industry is going to move forward. How are you guys looking at the future when it comes to, sustainability, when it comes to the carbon agenda? It's got to be a pretty hot topic for you.
Oh, it's an extremely hot topic for us. And I think our position is always forward looking. So when we talk about sustainability, one of the biggest things that we are investigating right now is battery storage. So when folks talk about advanced electrification, because we know fossil fuels is a finite resource, right? At some point, this planet is not going to have sufficient fossil fuel resources to power, heat, provide electricity and safety for our growing population. So we need to start looking at renewables in some capacity. So Nibs is on the forefront of that. We've been investigating battery storage. We're looking at making sure that facilities have adequate EV charging stations. It's something that our partners have been asking us to help define, redefine, make sure that there are adequate standards for. We are also looking at how we get folks in a position to do the type of mitigation that they need as they are adapting to the climate. So, for example, we have a couple of initiatives. One in particular we call turbo grants, and we will be helping jurisdictions find resources, either technical assistance and in most cases funding, that's either coming down from the federal government or private sources that they can use to do mitigation projects, and take care of not just their vertical structures, but also the horizontal infrastructure, which in America needs some TLC, right? We need to start making sure that bridges and roads and byways and highways are all taken care of so that people can get around.
So where does the financing come from for this? Is it taxpayer?
It is taxpayer indirectly. So most of our funding comes from the projects we work on for the federal government. So 80% of our budget is made up of contracts. Many of them, well, I would say not many of them, but we have a few what we call IDIQ contracts, indefinite quantity, indefinite delivery, which is a contracting model many government contractors use. And in fact, we also do some private work, we do some state work, and then we can also raise donations since we're 501c3. So we can take grants from private foundations, we can take donations from anybody here in the public, and our events bring in significant revenue also. Plus, we have memberships. So I'm thinking of all the different ways that we draw funding. Most of it comes from our contracting models.
Memberships. I mean, so that's interesting. What does a membership entail? Like, can I be a member?
Absolutely. We would love to have you be a member. And one of the things that we tell people all the time is we have mostly public interest members. Even our organizational members are looking at it from a public interest lens. Now, I know that sounds strange because government contractors are always also looking for the dollar, but at the same time, it is about making sure that we have adequate standards so that folks know what we're doing to capture data, in particular, how we're delivering on the different projects, how we are developing data that we will use in analyzing what needs to be done next, and then how we're sharing that data and making sure that systems are interoperable. So a lot of what we do can be distilled into our building information modeling and management programs. We have a national BIM program that feeds a lot of these various enterprises, trying to make sure that folks are getting the relevant information, and then we're bringing other partners to the table that we can continue to stay forward looking, because as we move forward, technology is going to drive a lot of the things that we do as far as advancing the safety, sustainability, and vibrancy of the built environment.
It is, and BIM, digital twins, all the 3D modeling, AR, VR. I mean, it's all coming into our industry, hot and heavy at the moment. So you are currently, you have a whole research team that is working and researching how this digital twin, so to speak, actually gets written into codes and how we move forward with it. Is that accurate?
That is accurate. So we have what we call the BIM Council. And as a part of the BIM Council, we have the Digital Twins Integration Subcommittee. And this subcommittee is made up of, I have to tell you, some of the smartest people I've ever met. And they are working really hard to help everyone understand just what digital twins are. Because as you know from your conversations, you can ask 6 different people and you might come up with 4 different answers, right? And right now, what we need is, number one, a working understanding or standardization, if you will, of the nomenclature. What is a digital twin? How are digital twins used? What is the technology that drives digital twins? What are we getting out of digital twins? How do we use that information to make this technology connect with how we are designing, retrofitting, and planning, particularly urban planning. When we talk about climate adaptation and taking care of horizontal infrastructure, you have to be able to understand traffic patterns, how you can get people in and out of a certain area, and what areas are in the direct path of coming natural disasters. Because as we know, it's not a question of if they're coming. We know more natural disasters are coming, and they're coming even more frequently.
Yeah, it's a matter of when they're coming, right? And I think that's kind of the key there. So as we look at this moving forward, AC, I'm a big offsite construction person. I love my offsite, modular, panelized, mass timber, even concrete, tilt ups and everything else, and that's our world. So as you guys are researching, how you use BIM, how you use digital twins, and so on and so forth, are you incorporating offsite into those conversations?
Absolutely. I think personally, offsite construction is the future. So when we talk about, even from a decarbonization standpoint, if you are building in a warehouse or a manufacturing facility, a modular structure that is just going to be plugged into, say, a hotel building or a hotel facility, or even a multifamily facility, where you're building modular housing, or even the boxable that you're in right now, where you can have a structure that is prefabricated, put together, and then you can move to different areas without a whole lot of um, torque or big rigs or anything of that nature. 8 feet wide, you can put them on the highway. That's phenomenal. So as we continue to grow and expand, and we're looking for ways of making sure that the human race itself can be safe and sheltered, modular construction is going to lead the way. Offsite construction is, again, the way of the future, and we need reliable data to make sure that offsite construction actually works for the entire industry, right? So when we talk about getting digital twins together, it's one thing, and the process, we have to build it twice, right? So it's on paper, and then we have to put it into a model, then we have to put it in practice, put it out into the real environment. Digital twins will allow us to do that in a virtual reality setting. Augmented reality is something that a lot of design firms are using right now, particularly with horizontal infrastructure. Imagine if we could take that same mindset and put all of these different pieces into a virtual environment, and then create faults where we have to have folks working real time to fix those things. Construction would go so much easier. We would be able to use the right materials that aren't going to be releasing carbon into the atmosphere. We'll be able to cut down on construction time, but we have a workforce that is already up to date on technology, on automation, on digital sharing, on being able to work through problems in real time. And so it makes us better as a society. And I think, again, we can get this accomplished if we have the standardization to say, this is what a digital twin is. This is how we develop data. This is how we share data.
Well, I mean, I got it figured out already for you, AC. So you might want to hire me right now. Figuring this stuff out, we just need to hire the youth. They got this figured
There you
out.
go.
All of
Right.
this has been around for a long time, and we're just figuring out how to use it better in our industry. Now, of course, the big commercial builders have been using it for years and years
Oh,
and
yeah.
years because they could afford it on those multi-billion-dollar projects. But now it is coming down to where we, all the way down to a general contractor, has access to this in an affordable way. But it makes a lot of sense, right? If you could build it twice and save on, the waste of material and hiccups and change orders in the fields. And if you get down to the single family home buyer, right? All those little things that happen that a contractor really can't see in a regular, old school hand drawn, AutoCAD plan, to what we're doing today. Now the homeowner doesn't have all the change orders, and they
That's
don't
right.
have 30% of their waste in a dumpster.
And a dumpster, right? Precisely. You're right. We need to hire you. But you seem to be doing great at this day job. I don't know if we have enough to offer you.
Yeah, no. I mean, I just say that. I think, being more inclusive in this world,
Mhm.
bringing the youth in, more ethnicity, more women, all of that. How is that a focus for your team as well? Because I think that's the only way we're going to drive this industry forward, if our industry is more inclusive of others.
Well, I'll tell you what, we actually are in the midst of doing what we call the social equity survey, where we have 16 industry partners. We've sent out 350,000 emails. We got 12,000 respondents back. And I tell you, most of the younger respondents all said that they'd like to see more equity and diversity in the industry. And it's important because we have, like you said, we have to bring younger folks in. They know things about how this world works that you and I are just like, we've done it this way. It works for us, but they have grown up with technology their entire lives. It's nothing for them to be on a handheld device to do entire projects and assignments through a tablet or a phone, connect with each other digitally and virtually and remotely. So I think for us, we have to keep encouraging them to figure out where they can add what they know about today's world, which includes advanced technology, and using our experience on what we know about how to get things done. If we can merge those two, and when we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, it's not just coming down to gender, race, and age. It's also that diversity of perspective, also that diversity of geographic location. And that's part of what Nibs is doing when we talk about DEI and the social equity survey. 65% of our respondents said that their organization already has a program that incorporates DEI principles. Uh, and I also want to point out that within our social equity survey, we have not only front line employees, we have executives, primarily executives, and then we also have mid-level management, mid-level management. We have women and men. We have folks from all over the color spectrum participating, and we have folks all over the United States. So I think that we've developed a good sense of how diversity, equity, and inclusion, accessibility, and belonging fit into the built environment. But we can always use more voices. So, like I said, 350,000 emails, we got 12,000 back. That's a great swath. But if we can get up to 100,000, then I think that we'll have a great recipe for unlocking the potential and bringing in different perspectives, bringing in different backgrounds, bringing in different cultures to move the built environment forward.
Yeah, and I think getting 100 some thousand emails is no small task. I'm just curious, what is the size of the team at Nibs,
We are 44 right now,
and where are
and
you based
hopefully
out of?
continuing to grow. We're in Washington, D.C.
Great, great. So we're going to see you in Washington D.C. because I'll be down there for the Building Systems Summit with the NAHB, right? And then there's the Showcase of Housing on the Mall. Will you guys be participating in all of that?
I'm sure we will be.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. I love it. So how do people get involved? How can they have a say on what happens, moving forward, with codes, and we talked a little bit about this before the show is, you know, all of these things happen, whether it's with the ICC or with Nibs, and you guys are researching to find better ways, and we want to make sure that we have good codes, but we don't want to be over regulated either in our industry, but we need to protect the people and the builders that are building and the people that are buying these homes. How do people have a say, and do they have a say? Do I have a say in that? Do I have to be a member of Nibs to have a say, or walk us through how we all get involved?
Well, yeah, the first part is to join. We are not an association in the traditional sense. We do have members, and our members form the professionals, the subject matter experts, the public interest gurus, and the general public that make up our councils. And our councils are volunteer based organizations within, or I should say, organizational units within the National Institute of Building Sciences that prepare white papers, that work on the standards, that help define nomenclature, that help us identify partners to help take things to code. Those are the folks that really do most of the heavy lifting when it comes to putting codes and standards together as a NIBS-led endeavor. Now, joining is fairly easy. You go to nibs.org, you go to join NIBS, and then you figure out which membership best fits your particular level of involvement. If you're an individual, you can join as an individual member. If you're an organization, you can join as an organization, or you can join as an unlimited organization, meaning that everybody who works in your organization can participate on the different councils. And I think that is the absolute best way to get involved. Another way is just to attend our events and be part of the conversation. So that's a one-off thing. The councils are ongoing.
And you have that coming up. And this is what's so exciting about it, because I heard the events are amazing, right? You have the Building Innovation 2023. I have it up on the screen there. Why don't you tell us exactly what this is and what people can expect should they attend?
I am super excited for Building Innovation. We are going to have a great lineup of speakers. We're going to have some very special guests stopping by. We are going to have a very good presentation on women leadership, but we are also going to talk about digital twins. We're going to talk about using BIM modeling to improve results and outcomes. We are going to talk about advanced electrification. We're going to talk about sustainability from that standpoint in particular. And we're going to talk about climate mitigation, adaptation, and resiliency. So there's a whole lot that's going to be going on at Building Innovation. You're also going to be able to meet some folks who are in the field doing great things, addressing these different challenges that we're facing, not just as a nation, but also as a global community of professionals who are working on the built environment. And it's right here in Washington, D.C. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, September 5th through the 7th. If you're interested in attending, for those of you on the East Coast, man, that's an easy drive coming down from New England and up from the Carolinas. I don't think the word "I can't make it" shouldn't even be in your vocabulary.
That's
the
right.
way I'm seeing it, for sure. All right, so thank you for sharing that with us. I also want to make sure that I do put up there your homepage as well. This is the National Institute of Building Science, NIBS, as it's called. And look at, I mean, there's so much great information on this.
Oh yeah, no, if you go to our website, sometimes it gets a little bit overwhelming. If you go to like the solutions and you see all the councils, and then you go to the whole building design guide, that's where you should start. Go to the WBDG, over 260 micro certifications for any number of different things related to design, construction, building, retrofitting. All of these resources on the WBDG are free. Again, that's the whole building design guide. If you go to solutions, you will find it underneath that tab. Click
under solutions right here. Okay.
And then come down to, let's see, right there on the second line under information technology.
Whole building design guide.
Whole building design guide.
There it is. Yeah, look at that. Promote integration, communicate innovation, utilize resources. Look at that. I love it. So, I mean, the resources are out there for all the greatness that's, happening that a lot of us don't know about, or we do now because you saw it on Dave Cooper Live for sure. And I see Greg Ugaldi and Judy and others out there, and we're going to say hi in just a moment. AC, I think what's super, super important is that we all start coming together and talking collectively, right? Nobody really has the secret sauce to the future of housing and housing affordability and sustainability. I mean, it's all over the place, whether, is wood the future, is hemp the future, is, we just had a company called Planted on. They're growing grass and making boards, wood out of grass.
Right. Yeah.
If you haven't seen that, it's all a bunch of SpaceX employees that started Planted, and the factory looks like a SpaceX facility as well. So, I mean, I think the change is here. I think people are more interested in these conversations and topics. I think the bigger builders that are out there are more listening more and looking at this more and
Yes.
more, especially they're having a hard time recruiting the labor and the skilled workforce as well, which
Mhm.
turns into, headaches when you're building 50,000 homes a year, right? Plus or whatever they're doing.
Mhm.
Um, and the fact that people can get involved. And I really would like to see the offsite community get involved, right? Because I think it's super,
Absolutely.
super important that we're all talking and we're all working together. You said so earlier that it's kind of the future of where we're going. That doesn't mean modular is the future or panelized the future. I think it's a collective
That's
growth
right.
amongst all of the different ways of building. Um, is there anything that we didn't talk about, AC, that you really want people to know, not only about yourself or about your team or about Nibs?
I do want to mention one more thing. So you talk about having a skilled workforce. I kind of touched on it. We are launching a new program called Workforce One, a mobile training laboratory that we are going to use to get people not only excited and interested about taking positions in the workforce, particularly in facilities management, that is saying, hey, you know what? I've done my time. I have fought the good fight. It's time for me to retire. But also just getting folks more trained on the changes, particularly with blockchain being introduced, with AI being introduced, with all the different types of the Internet of Things that you can get into and how those things need to be secured. So we will be using the Workforce One mobile laboratory to get folks around the country trained, particularly in rural areas where there aren't a whole lot of access to high paying
Wow.
job. So that is something that Nibs has not traditionally been known for. But in the next few years, we will become a big player in training America's workforce around built environment professions.
This is amazing. So you're going to have a mobile workforce training crew that travels the country and goes to a lot of the rural areas to help the trades or people that want to be in the trades learn what's coming down the pipeline is what it sounds like, right? How do you use
Absolutely.
AR? How are we using VR? Blockchain.
There you
How's it
go.
going to affect your contracts, right? All of
That's
these
right.
different
Yeah.
things. There's no more finger pointing with blockchain.
There's no more finger pointing. And people need to understand it's not taking your job away, it's helping you do your job better. And that's what we're going to be preaching. And we're going not just to rural communities, but to underserved urban areas as well. And we've got some great partners who are going to help us do that. You talked about Judy Donnell. I love me some Judy. She is going to be figuring a lot in the different things that we do going across. See, she's waving.
Yeah, there she is. Hey, Judy. We're talking about you. You should have heard what we said offline.
Right. Don't tell
I'm
her she's
just
watching.
teasing. Yeah, yeah. No, Judy's out there, and she said she sits on the board at Nibs, right?
Yes.
And it's been amazing, which is great to see. So love it, love it. And quick shout out to her partner in crime right there, Greg Ugaldi. Great to see
Yeah, great.
ACMD, Cooper Live, the Nibs, and DC Live Mission have so much in common. And hey, you know what? Thank you to Judy and Greg because that's how we
Yes.
met.
That's how we
I mean,
met.
it was
Yeah.
circumstance, but I thought you guys were having this big meeting. I was going to walk back out, and I don't want to interrupt anybody. You guys got a lot to do. But this mobile workforce training,
Mhm.
I think, is so powerful in so many ways because that's exactly it. I think the rural areas feel,
Yes.
a little bit
Left out.
left out
Yeah,
on training. We don't have the trade schools like we used to.
that's
We
right.
need we need some of the trade schools back, but we need trade schools, and this is happening in colleges and architecture school and everything else. They come out of school and they're 5 years behind
Yeah.
where the technology is and what people are doing. And again, I think once we get that inclusion, diversity, and the young people into this industry,
Hmm.
um, construction will no longer be in last place when it comes to innovation and technology because that's where we sit right now. We're in last place. We're below agriculture, and that's not hard to believe when you see how powerful agriculture is.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, there's some great universities doing some things out there, but we also need to get to the middle and high school level because
Yeah.
that is how we're going to continue to replenish the workforce and keep the American economy vibrant.
Yeah, for sure. 100% agreed. Well, I appreciate you sharing this with us, AC. I appreciate you coming on the show. I appreciate you joining us as we're out here at Boxable. Boxable, a folding house. What kind of codes and standards do you have for folding houses?
Well, none yet, but now that you say that, we are open to having that conversation with Boxwell. They can help us put it together.
Well, you know what? I can make that introduction for sure.
All
And you should
right.
come out here and see this. What would be good, AC, is tomorrow. I know you're home now, so I wouldn't expect it. But we have an event that we're putting on, and we got CEOs and manufacturer owners from around the world coming to Boxable, and we're going to do a walkthrough, and we're going to have real discussions on how the industry is changing. And some of these folks are competitors, and this is where I talk about collaboration.
Yeah,
And we do this a
right.
couple times a year. They get in a room, and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh man, well I got this big project I had to turn down because I don't have the capacity." They start working together.
They start working
There's
together.
all kinds
Yeah,
of fun stuff that comes out of this, and there's enough out there for everybody. So I think
that's
that's
right.
great. But if you get the itch and you want to come to Vegas, we'll be here, man.
I always want to come to Vegas Day. But I just got back from vacation, so I better stay my butt right here and take care of some other work.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, listen, AC, really, really appreciate you coming on. Let's give a quick couple shout outs to those that are out there tuning in. I can't get to everybody, but I can get the most. Yeah, we said hi to Judy. Hey, we got Mark Bare Naked Willie out there as well. What is happening, Mark? Mark does BS Friday with me. We talk about
Okay.
building science. He's one of the leaders in the world when it comes to building science, and he's just a good chap all around, and he really wants to see the world change. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Jennifer's out there on YouTube land. Great collaboration between NHB and National Institute of Building Science. Absolutely, Jennifer.
Yep.
Jennifer will be here on location as well. She's just flying in this morning. Hey, we're going all the way to Italy. Art Schmoen, what's happening, Art? Hi, AC. Looking forward to talking with about IWBC. Most of what you have been talking about associated with operational carbon emissions. What are you? So he's asking, what are you doing about embodied carbon emissions? So there's a question in that.
So a lot of our work is turning to embodied carbon. And I talked about how the National BIM program is really looking at a couple of different things, from not just design and build and using materials that don't emit a lot of carbon, but also retrofitting, because that is where carbon gets released into the atmosphere in a lot of different ways. So we're looking at how we can help our partners build smarter and more efficiently and reducing carbon, because that is going to help save the planet. And when we talk about saving the planet, a lot of people just hear, it's going to cost us a heck of a lot of money. But we are working on ways, a lot of different organizations are working on ways to make sure that we can use the best materials that do not have a carbon footprint or a large carbon footprint or reduced carbon footprint, so that we can reduce cost and make building more efficient at the same time. So please join us, get on these councils, figure out how your voice can be injected, and we can keep moving that thing forward. And Art, I am looking forward to IWBC as well. So thank you for the shout out.
Yeah, IWBC. Hey, that's in Washington D.C. this year as well with Greenbuild.
That's right.
Your family's gonna be really happy, or maybe not.
Right.
They're gonna be like, he's home way too much now. All these events are in Washington.
Give me more. Give me some. Keep my wife happy.
Yeah, for
Don't get me kicked
sure.
out.
For sure. Well, AC, we really appreciate you jumping on. That link where we met before the show, you can just click on that after we hang up here and
Okay.
meet me back over there after this is over, and we'll talk. That's the new green room. Normally I end these, but this is going for the next, probably 12 to 24 hours, so I can't cut the stream. Hey, if you want to see the folding house, everybody out there, I think we're doing it at 2:00. We're going to live stream an actual Boxwell being opened up. Keep tuned. We'll start putting the schedule up, because it's this is an operational factory. There's a lot moving out there and a lot of things happening. So we got to be flexible with stuff, and internet around the world can be tricky. So it's going to be one of those events, but I think everybody that's out there, just keep checking in. But I think 2:00 we will be live streaming a real Boxable being unfolded. And I will tell you, AC, they're really comfortable. Like you saw, what I was showing you. Let me see if. Right. And I got that camera over there. Let me see if that one's up and running. Yeah. So And can you believe this is a folding house? Does it look like a folding house
It
to you?
does not at all.
It doesn't. It's comfortable, and you know, so far I don't have any complaints. I'm going to be reviewing these, and we're going to be doing some videos, but we're going to give an honest review of all this, and we're going to interview a lot of the factory workers, not just the owners and founders. We are actually going to be interviewing the people that do the hard work and get real opinions on how much they love what they do or don't love what they do. You never know. But so far, man, the culture has been really cool. And AC, that's one thing we didn't touch on is culture, you know, in a company. And I know that's super important to you. I can just tell because I can feel the humbleness in you. You just like to have fun and make sure things are moving in the right direction. I can already feel it.
You pegged me. You
got it.
You got me. That's exactly the way I work.
All right. So AC, why don't you go and meet me over there at that other link if you have a minute, and we'll wrap up after the show. So the rest of you that are out there, that's right, keep tuning in. We're going to be coming to you live from Boxable all day long and through the night. You want to see a factory in Vietnam. That's right, a factory in Vietnam. TLC Modular. That's right. TLC, they're shipping product all over the world. We're going to be talking at 7 o'clock with them, 7 p.m. PST time. And then again, we will be on with them. I believe that's at midnight. I got to look, but I think it's 12 midnight. We will be in their factory live virtually right here on this channel. You're not going to want to miss it. I'm telling you. All right. And another thing, a big shout out to all of our sponsors out there one last time. And here's the end card of our sponsors. We're not going to end this stream, but I am going to catch you guys in a little bit. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody. What an amazing show. Thank you to all of our sponsors for helping us to continue to bring all of these innovative conversations to all of you out there. Please visit them, see what they have to offer you, and as always, subscribe to the YouTube channel and ring that bell. It would mean the world to us. I'm Dave Cooper. Thanks for watching.